Hey everyone, welcome to today's detective story. Definitely not your average case. Bob seized the cop's gun, and everyone thought he was about to head out for ice cream. But then, Bob pulled a wild card and unexpectedly gave himself a chest opener. The detective lost and thought went back to square one, with his only clue being a bizarre maze drawing. Subtitles. Alex seemed to have a sudden realization and told Keller that the maze might just be the key to unlocking the mystery, but Keller's requests were like shouting into thin air. Both of them mentioned the maze like it was part of a crash course. Were they in a maze boot camp? But why were they ready to take secrets to the grave, as if they were evading something truly bizarre? To unveil the maze's secrets, Keller visited Alex's aunt, but her tea wasn't as sweet as one hopes. After a chat, Keller left empty-handed. What a classic case of talking equals wasting effort. The detective stared blankly at the maze, wondering, what is this? It reminds me of high school math. He felt guilt over Bob's death, his mood like a bitter coffee getting worse the more he thought about it. Out of the corner of his eye, he spotted a photo on the floor, a corpse and a strange pendant seemingly waving at him. He suddenly realized he had seen this horrifying corpse in the pastor's basement while investigating Anna's disappearance. The pastor claimed this guy was a freaky killer, constantly shouting about having killed 16 kids, a real magnified tragedy. It seemed he naughtily hid in the basement until he naturally expired, a master plan of hanging on to life. Suddenly, the detective got a call from a co-worker, laughing uncontrollably. Bob's house was filled with mannequins made of can. The co-worker said the lab found all animal blood at Bob's house. Turns out Bob was innocent. They even found the source of the maze map. It was from a detective novel. Bob was just doing some sort of cosplay. Among the clothes found in Bob's house, except for Anna and Joy's, everything was new and on sale. But the detective wasn't buying it, asking the co-worker if Bob isn't the kidnapper. Then why are the victims' clothes so chilly? Then he mentioned the pendant on the corpse and Bob's maze drawing. Did these two have a childhood connection? His emotions became more agitated until a co-worker advised him to take a breather. Maybe some tea would help. He suddenly remembered Keller's wife mentioned someone broke into the house at night. This was starting to feel like a binge-worthy show. At Keller's house, he found a trail of footprints and one of Anna's socks, like a heart-wrenching missing persons content. Now it's safe to assume that Bob is not just innocent, but a tragic little side character. Keller rushed home, and his wife hurriedly informed him the police found missing Joy, and he is at the hospital leveling up. Joy recalled, terrified, that the culprit was like a villain from a superhero movie. At first, they tried to make an escape, but Anna was caught again. It was like a hope-shattering moment. Keller immediately thought of Alex's aunt, since he had only ever visited that one place. He hastily dashed out of the hospital only to collide with the detective, whose mind was busy thinking, "Where are you running off to?" The confused detective assumed Keller was trying to escape and promptly followed him to the aunt's house. Keller desperately wanted the aunt to reveal Anna's whereabouts, only to be stunned when she pulled out a gun. It turned out the aunt was behind Anna's kidnapping. Was she also an expecting truth teller? She was drowning in the pain of losing her son, truly a villain in an imaginary tale. Take revenge on God. She and her husband kidnapped other people's kids, a real villain philosophy. Joy was their first victim, while Bob became another woeful game of forgetfulness. She admitted to reading about Bob's suicide in the paper. What an unexpected turn of events. Now she locked Keller in the basement, truly a bubble dream in the dark. Keller felt sorrow, discovering the red whistle he had given his daughter a painful jolt through his heart. He understood Anna was trapped here, but he felt powerless, sorrow weighing heavily like a boulder. Meanwhile, the detective gritted through discomfort to return to the old house in search of Keller. He originally came to tell the aunt about Alex's secret, but after knocking for ages without anyone answering, it felt like haunted house exploration. When he discovered the pendant in the photo was identical to the corpse's, it was a heart-stopping revelation. Suddenly, the detective found the aunt preparing to harm Anna next door. A game of cat and mouse was afoot. She arrived just in time, like an embodiment of justice, but the aunt fought back and was shot by the detective. She was wounded but didn't care, as Anna was poisoned and every second counted. Fortunately, she managed to get Anna to the hospital. Anna thanked her. "You're a true warrior, detective." Yet Keller's whereabouts remained unknown, with detectives assuming he fled over a mistake, unaware of his peril. The detective returned to the aunt's house again, hoping to discover something new, for the secrets here were as plentiful as flies. However, after a preliminary check, there were no new developments. Looks like the kidnapping game isn't over yet.